Hello, and welcome back to Heroes Advent. So, we just left Eliza's cabin with Max, and we're traveling to the city. And Max was asking us if there was anything we wanted to learn about the world. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, anything you wanted to know about our world? Let's go with the Academy, since that's where we're headed. Or wait. Oh, magic! Always pick magic. Tell me more about magic. Well, magic comes from your own body. Each of us has something called affinities. Different people have different affinities. For example, I have ice affinities. That means I can control ice and perform ice magic. I can conjure ice, freeze stuff, and slow things down. Wow, that's so cool. No pun intended, of course. Well, I guess it is. But we need a magic crystal to channel our magic. Without it, we won't be able to conjure anything. I want to do magic too. There's no magic back in my world. It's just the stuff of fantasy and legends there. Everything works on scientific logic, which just seems boring to me. Everything has its good and bad, and magic is no exception. Sure, it might look cool and satisfying to conjure a fireball or briefly control the gravity of your surroundings, but without proper control, it can very well become an agent of destruction. So, anything you wanted to know more? Let's ask the Academy this time. What is the Academy like? The Academy, same as your schools, is where people learn about the world. There are a lot of stuffs you can learn there. Magic, hand-to-hand combat, alchemy, biology, etc. We've trained numerous mercenaries and scientists to reinforce our cities and join forces against the king. Wait, you can study magic there. You remembered Eliza saying something about everybody being able to use magic in this world. Well, yeah. Once you're there, you'll receive basic training for combat and magic. So, anything you wanted to know more of? What is the magic crystal? You mentioned a magic crystal. What is that? It's a special type of mineral that was discovered deep underground. There are two variants of magic crystals. One is for channeling magic, the other is for generating energy. Typically, there is a third type of crystal, but using it is forbidden. Forbidden? Is it dangerous? You could put it that way. From what I know, it contains dark energy. You can use it to control and manipulate other living beings. It's very rare, however, and requires the user to have a potent energy reservoir to be able to use it effectively. So far, only the Evil King has been seen using that type of crystal without any negative effect. So, anything you wanted to know more? Let's talk about the Evil King. So, I've heard quite a bit about this Evil King so far. But who is he exactly? It's hard to say. His true name is unknown to us. Nobody even knows where exactly he came from. Legend said that he was from a humble village far up north in this land, once upon a time when the nations lived in peace and harmony. Then everything changed for the worse when he rose to power and ruled with an iron fist. He transformed everybody in his village into his subject and plotted to do the same to other adversaries. So far, he's already conquered a large portion of this continent and maybe 1/3 of the world. Even when so many people tried to stop him? Indeed. Many powerful warriors, brave knights, and wise sages from many factions and nations have faced off against the king, only to meet their unfortunate demise. Even our war against him has lasted for decades now. And somehow I would be the one to defeat him and restore peace and balance to the world? You chuckled at the jokeful remark, but Max didn't seem to be messing around this time. Yeah, I'm afraid so. Do we actually know what he looked like, too? I assume most people don't. Why? Have you seen him before? Actually, kind of, but I'd rather not talk about it again. The thought of those nightmares made you shiver a little. Max, on the other hand, went quiet for a moment. before his tone grew solemn and you wondered what was on his mind. "'Twas foretold by the sorceress of yore. When worlds collide, comes forth our salvation. Under his blade and might the evil king shall fall, and soon follow suit his undying reign of tyranny. Only then shall freedom come to us all." Whoa. I'm not sure which version of this Miss Eliza told you, but if the prophecy is true, then the fate of this land lies in your hands, Dave. No pressure. Yeah, no pressure indeed. Actually, that reminds me. You do need to recite that quite a lot if you take those study classes. Oh, geez, really? I surely hope not. But of course. So, anything you wanted to know more? There's nothing else. I guess that's all for now. You felt like you've learned quite a lot of new stuff just from that conversation. You decided to change the topic and chatted with Max for a while before you felt drowsy again. Sleepy? Max looked to you as a yawn escaped your lips. Yeah. You did get up early after all. Get some shut-eye. I'll wake you when we arrive at the city. Okay. Thanks, Max. You curled up along the side of the seat, using the cushion as a pillow. You remembered sleeping on those old buses when you were younger. The carriage wasn't that spacious, but it sure didn't shake as much, and aside from the halls occasionally howling, this was far more comfier. You let your mind wander for a while as you slowly drifted to sleep. You forced a yawn as you came to. It was quiet. You must have slept for quite a while. Max, you grunted, rubbing your eyes for a moment. No response. You looked around yourself. Even under your blurry eyes, something tells you you weren't on the carriage anymore. I'm at school? You gave your furry arm a light pinch, which didn't do much other than earning a yelp from you. You quickly covered your mouth, expecting everyone in the classroom to have their eyes on you, but they didn't seem to notice. They must be too busy paying attention to whatever the teacher was on about. Was all of this just a dream? You sighed, rubbing your eyes some more just to make sure you weren't seeing things, when you noticed the teacher approaching. You recognized him almost instantly. He was the professor that always wore that old trench coat around school. Judging from the numbers on the board, he was probably teaching either math or physics, but for whatever reason, his name just eluded you. You forced a smile as the professor stopped before your desk. Even though he was up close, his face seemed a little blurred out. "Enjoyed your nap, Mr. Dave." He gave you a stern look before eyeing the content on your desk. "You know how I deal with students that doze off in my class, but I'll let you off with a warning this time. Only because you've done decently on the last exam." Thanks, sir. You felt like your heart almost skipped a beat as he gave you a weird look. "The finals are just a week away, Mr. Dave. Were I you, I'd stay extra focused. And put away your philosophy books, if you please. I'm afraid they won't help you much against these equations." Oh. You heard some scoffing among the other students as the teacher returned to the board. You felt like this couldn't get any more embarrassing. Though they went quiet as the lesson resumed, you looked at the wall clock, which read 2 in the afternoon. Looks like it was going to be at least a few hours before the session ended. You swapped out the textbooks from the rucksack at your feet. Then you tried to haphazardly note down the professor's explanations. Something about using a theorem to denote something about matrices? What does any of that even mean? You tried to keep up, but after a moment you just stopped. You could have sworn being half decent at the subject, and yet you couldn't understand a single word beyond that. Nothing in your notebook made sense either. All these numbers, lines, and symbols, almost as if all of it was written in some kind of language you couldn't understand. This is boring. You sighed, taking your eyes off the notebook. Maybe you're just having one of those days where nothing made sense. You decided to look outside. It was another sunny day, and the view seemed rather familiar to you. It was the city you grew up in, after all. What is that? A purple structure loomed in the distance. It looked like a giant spire casting shadow over the entire city. Its obsidian spikes seemed to poke through the surrounding skyscrapers. It looks so out of place, and yet at the same time, you can't shake that feeling that you've seen it somewhere before. Ahem. You snapped back to the board as the teacher cleared his throat. You could feel some of your classmates staring at you. This was probably one of the most embarrassing days you've ever had in school. When the lesson resumed, you looked through the windows again. The massive structure was nowhere to be seen. After what felt like an eternity, the school bell finally rang and you left the classroom in a heartbeat. Hey, Dave! A familiar voice called to you from behind. Oh, hey, It was your childhood friend. You could recognize his casual wear and his messy hairstyle anywhere. You remembered him well, from all the times you spent together in the past, to when he asked for your help with his homework recently. But just like everyone you met today, his face was rather blurry, and you couldn't for the life of you figure out what his name was. What's wrong? Did you pull out another all-nighter? He asked, giving your shoulders a light punch. Of course you did. Been reading more stuffs on F6, haven't you? I what now? Wow, I know you would. I binged through several albums there the other day myself. Good stuff. I can show you some later if you wanna. Yeah, maybe not. I don't want to get into trouble being caught asleep in class again. You stole a glance at the elderly professor passing by the stairwell. Oh, him? Relax, Dave. You know how he is. All barks and no bite. What he said made you cringe for some reason. Well, don't you notice anything different about me? Different? He took a good look at you from top to bottom. The only weird thing I see is how much your eyes sag. Maybe get some proper sleep tonight? Oh, okay. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Anyways, I gotta go. Catch you later. Yeah, bye. You lagged behind as your friend left. Somehow you felt sad, perhaps for the first time ever. You felt lost in the same city you've spent most of your life in, as you didn't belong here to begin with. What is going on? Nobody seems to notice I'm no longer human at all. You thought to yourself as you left school, taking the first road towards your rented apartment. Maybe it's for the better? I was never meant to be the hero type after all. Well, at least I can still keep this body. You wagged your tail at the exciting prospect. You thought of all the cool things you could do with this new furry self. What? Suddenly, the next step you took on the sidewalk became hollow. Ah! And before you knew it, you already dove deep into the unseen chasm. You struggled and yelled, but soon there was nothing but darkness surrounding you. You feel like you've been falling forever. You could see the same silhouette looming over you. It was laughing hysterically. There was something about it that sent chills down your spine. Help me! You screamed at the top of your lungs. You could see its maw growing wider and wider, engulfing your form further and further as you fell into the abyss. The figure spoke suddenly. Help! Wake up! What? Wake up, Dave! You shot up from the carriage seat. Max was still taking the rein. You could hear the halls howling in the front. We're almost there. Just about 10 more minutes. You leaned against the cushion for a moment, still feeling disoriented. You look even more tired than before. Bad dream? Max looked at you as he asked. You didn't say anything. Not that you didn't want to. You just didn't even know where to start. Speaking of the city, you've always been curious about what it looked like up close, but you were still too groggy to enjoy the view, so you covered your eyes and waited it out. Alright, here we are. Let's go, Dave. You see Max getting off the front seat. Okay. You grabbed your backpack and stepped out of the vehicle, taking a moment to stretch and look around. Whoa. You see a tall structure ahead of you. Welcome to the Galantaire Guild. You'll be staying here for the time being. At least until you can afford your own place, that is. Max gave you a smile as you followed him into the building. Whoa. You're even more awestruck now that you're inside. The interior reminded you of the medieval inns you'd seen in fantasy books, only with a modern twist. I was just like you the first time I got here, too. Come, let's get you checked in. Max led you to the receptionist to sign you up. Ah, welcome back, Max. And you are Dave, yes? Yeah, that's me. Let's see. Everything seems to be in order. Please sign here and here and here. The receptionist handed you a form from one of the boxes in the back. You grabbed a pen on the counter and signed your name as instructed. Writing with your new hand certainly felt different, if not a tad awkward, but you still managed to do it after a moment of fiddling. There we go. All right, you're all set, Dave. They gave you a set of keys. You could see a number etched onto its side. I'm sure you'll be a helpful addition to the Galateers, unlike those guys that tried to sign up as a Palateer. Can you believe that? That's a strange name for a person, but what's wrong with that? Ah, it's the name of our old headquarters. Anyhow, enjoy your stay in the city. Oh, okay, thanks. You gave the receptionist a courtesy nod as you headed back. Max was waiting by the large doorway to the right. All done? You nodded. Now, come along, let me show you around. Max took you to the right wing of the guild, cutting straight through the long corridor with a lot of rooms and stairwells at the sides. As you stepped out the back entrance, a broad tower soon came into view. Its shape reminded you more of a lighthouse, except it was much taller, if not as tall as the skyscrapers back in your world. This here is the observatory. People call it the research tower, and as the name implies, it's the center of research and development on both magic and science. You followed Max through the archway entrance into the base of the tower. Each floor of the tower is actually dedicated to a specific type of magic or science. You stopped to read the sign by the tower entrance. Galateer Observatory. There was an area similar to the reception back in the main building, like a guest lounge of sorts. You could see other guild members resting by the sofas and chatting. Hey, have you heard the news? The situation outside the barrier is looking pretty grim. Uh-huh. And why do you care? We didn't get this break to worry about things we can't deal with. Instead, we better finish that assignment soon, or the director will have a hides. Yeah, you're right. Meanwhile, Max seemed to be explaining to you a bit more about the place. But something about the conversation you overheard just bothered you. Oh, hey, Alex! Max called for the Lynx passing by the lounge. Huh, Max. Well, I haven't seen you around for a bit. Indeed. How you been? Same as always. What about you? What are you doing here? I'm showing the new guy around. Max waved at you to come closer. Dave, this is Alex, one of the top scientists at the tower. Alex, this is Dave, our new mercenary. Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you. Great. Another sacrificial lamb for the king, I see. The Lynx gave you a look of contempt, but you still shook your hand in return. Well, nice to meet you too, Dave. Listen, I'd love to keep you two company, but I've got more pressing matters to attend to at the moment. Alex said this as he made his way over to the elevator beside the spiral stairwell. Rude. Geez, what a nice guy. You rolled your eyes and Max scoffed. Yeah, that's Alex for you. Oh, yeah, Dave. You see Alex poking his head out from the elevator. Yes? Since you're new here and probably have nothing better to do, why not make yourself useful and come by my lab at the underground levels? A new test subject is always welcomed. No. The last thing you saw before the door closed was his sly grin, which made you a bit uncomfortable. Don't mind him, Dave. He must be in a weird mood today. What do you mean? He doesn't usually joke around like that, but I guess his stressful lab work can do that to you once in a while. I'm sure he doesn't mean what he said, though. Max gave your shoulder a pat as you left the tower and headed back to the main building. You may have seen it earlier, but through here is the central hall. It's where the classrooms and training rooms are. As you can see, they're closed during weekends and holidays. You're free to join the program anytime you want during weekdays. So where will I be staying, actually? Oh, the living quarters, or you can just call it the dormitory. It's the back of the guild building. Just go through the hallway in the back and it should lead straight to the dorm rooms. Look at your keys again in case you forgot what your room number was. Got it. Hey, Max. Looking good, man. A red dragon approached Max from the training quarters. Huh? Oh, hey, Rye. You stepped aside as they greeted each other with a brief side hug. Didn't expect to see you around at this hour. Where are you going? Just fetching some things for Alex. Uh-huh. Who's this cute little guy? You tried to glance away a bit when the dragon laid his eyes on you. Hi, I'm Dave. Nice to meet you. Duh. Well, it's a pleasure getting to know you too, Dave. Ray winked at you as he placed an arm on your shoulder. Let's enjoy a cup of coffee sometime, shall we? The way he looked at you made you even more flustered. Hey now, leave him be, would you? You know how it is for me, Max. I'm always into the new faces. I know. But keep it to yourself, Rye. You'll just scare off the newbies. Besides, didn't you say you had some errands to run? You're right. Well, see you around, Dave. You can feel yourself blushing hard from his flirty tone and winking. He stayed frozen in place for a moment, even after Ray had left the central hallway. Come on, Dave. Don't fall behind now. Max already took the first corner to the left. Okay, I'm coming. And here we have the guild's food court. After catching up to him, he led you to a large doorway amid the corridor. You looked at the wooden sign hung beside the door. The honeysuckle. Yep. That's the official name. Anyways, the place is open from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., so you can have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. That sounds really neat. You looked around as you followed Max inside. The place immediately reminded you of the school canteen, but instead resembled a traditional tavern more, which you found quite cozy. Good day, boys. The bear behind the counter waved at Max. Everybody in this place seemed to know him. Cody. How you holding up? Swell. Where have you been, Max? I actually miss seeing you here every morning. Just spending some time away from the city. I see. Well, now that you're back, what can I get you? The usuals? Nah, thanks. I already had lunch on the way here. Besides, I'm mostly here to show the new guy around. Max nudged you a bit towards the counter. Hi, I'm Dave. Well, hello there, Dave. I'm Cody, the head chef of this humble kitchen. My job is to make sure everyone in the Galantir stays well fed after all. No army can fight on an empty stomach. Cody said that with a bright smile, lifting his ladle for emphasis. So, if you wanted something to eat, just give me the word and I'll be sure to whip you up a proper meal to fill that belly of yours. Yes, sir. He chuckled. There was something about his speech that really uplifted your spirits. Now that you mention it, maybe a light snack wouldn't hurt. You know the drill, Max. Just take a look at the menu. Let me know if something interests you and I'll set you right up. Will do, Cody. Thanks. Max gave the bear a thumbs up before looking to you. Well, that about wraps up the tour for today. You can stay here and have lunch with me or explore more on your own if you want. I think I'll go to my room first, unpack my stuff, and maybe rest up for a bit. It's been a long trip, and that last nap was not very pleasant. Oh, gotcha. Well, I'll be around here if you need me. See you later, Dave. Okay, Bye, Max. Bye, Cody. You left the tavern and found your way through the back hallways, which connected to a different area. The directions plaque at the entrance read, Galatier Residential Quarters. This must be it. You took a moment to study the diagram next to the plaque. The dormitory building had 6 floors, each split into 4 main halls with a meeting point in the middle. Not very different from the college dorm I've seen before, you thought, taking a look at the keys you received as you made your way up the middle stairwell. Based on the number on your inscription, your room was the 3rd one on the first left wing of the 5th floor. You breathed a sigh of relief as you finally got inside your room. You can see why they had to etch all that info on the keys. It was quite easy getting lost just wandering around the dorm, let alone the entire guild building. You put your backpack down and turned on the light. Whoa. You decided to look around your room right away. To the right of your living room was a sofa and a coffee table, with a wall-mounted flat-screen TV on the left. A marble counter separated the living room with the kitchen, in which was a rather large pantry and a set of dining table. Through the doorway in between the kitchen and the living room was the bedroom. There was a king-size bed and a wall-hung wardrobe on its side. The bathroom was on the right of the doorway, which had a small bathtub, sink, shower, and a small closet stacked with cleaning supplies. This is very fancy for a dorm. You thought to yourself as you sat down on the sofa. This room really looked like it belonged to a hotel instead of a school dorm. Come to think of it, so far the guild felt like someone took different buildings in the city and merged them together. Not that you're complaining, the site was rather mesmerizing, even if the layout could be confusing with all the labyrinthine hallways. You decided to start unpacking for about half an hour before throwing yourself onto the bed. You changed into your shorts and flopped back onto the bed. Too exhausted to do anything else, you fell asleep the moment your head hit the pillow. All right. Well, I'm going to stop there. We didn't have a nightmare this time, and we finally reached the academy with a ton of characters. Oh man, that was like the most characters I've ever voiced for a single set before, but I'm working on it, and I hope you enjoyed it. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I might be switching to a different VN for a while, but I'll pick up back with this in a few weeks or so. So this has been Fritz-Ay Says, and everyone have a nice day. Ciao.